It's only 4 or 5 cases in each state. In some states, no cases were found of voter fraud. But Trump is only contesting states that he lost. If there's widespread voter fraud, there should be widespread voter fraud in almost all the states across the country, not just states that he loses. Like, there's no voter fraud in Texas because he won that state. There's no voter fraud in Ohio because he won that state. But it's Pennsylvania because he lost that state. So he comes out and he's still, I don't know if he really believes this stuff or he just saying it just so he can raise money, because he's raising money. He's taking donations from his base for his to fight the widespread voter fraud. So he has gotten some donations from people who support him. If you're so rich, billionaire, why would you need these donations? Okay, he claims he was a billionaire, but he's not. So that's why. That was just another lie. He's not a billionaire. That's why he's raised so much money. These 2 elections, the one election that he won for president back in 2016 and this one that he lost, he's raised over $2 billion in these 2 elections. If you are so rich and going to use your own money, why raise so much money? Why do you need so much money? Listen, this is all about money for him. Yes, he loves the power of being president, but he never used his own money. He said he was going to, but that was just another lie. People have to understand when someone is not telling them the truth. So, anyway, we're going to pause for station identification. No, there's really no identification. I just like saying that. But we are going to pause. We'll be right back right after this.
You're listening to a man who's so sexy it's completely ridiculous. Mr. Anthony Scott Dover. Yummy.
All right. We're back. I'm sure we'll get back to talking about politics. I mean, it's so exciting to talk about politics all day, but I want to move on a little bit here. And this shows right here that the coronavirus is real. Is that sports? There was 3 games supposed to be played on Thanksgiving in the National Football League. Usually on Thanksgiving, the Cowboys will play a team. It's always different teams, not always the same team, and they did. They played Washington. And the Detroit Lions will play someone, usually. And they did. Now, they played the Texans on Thanksgiving. Now, the third game usually is at night, and it's always different teams. It's not any one specific team like the Cowboys and the Lions. They play every Thanksgiving. They have for years. But a third game is usually on the NFL Network at night. And this year, it was a game between the Steelers and the Ravens that was supposed to be on Thanksgiving, but because of COVID, it got pushed back to Tuesday. From Thursday to Tuesday. Those days in between are for because someone was in quarantine, and the quarantine was not going to be over with. I guess, I don't know the full details, but when they found out someone was in quarantine, they postponed that game and pushed it back to Tuesday. So now we're going to have a game on Tuesday instead of Thursday night. The Steelers are going to be playing, I think it was the Ravens, on Tuesday. I thought they pushed it back to today, which is Sunday today, the 29th, 11/29/2020 is the date today. But see, stuff like this and the college football tells you that this virus is real. This is not, it shouldn't be politicized at all. And we should listen to doctors and scientists, not politicians who don't know what they're talking about. As you can see, you can make it all the way up to being president if you say the right stuff. If you lie enough and getting people to believe you, and you get, enough contributions to do everything you need to do, you can be president. You don't have to be intelligent. That's been proven. But the fact that these and the NFL's trying to play all their games. They're not canceling games like in college football. The Ohio State Buckeyes this is the second game that was canceled for them. So they already only had an 8-game regular season schedule. Now they're going to be down to 6 games. So their chances of going to the playoffs, even if they win them all, are going right out the window because the other teams are playing the SEC and the ACC. Those teams have played 9 games already. And if you've only played 4 or 5 games, 4 games, even if you won them all, that's not like being 9-0. So with every game that's canceled for the Buckeyes or any other team that's undefeated, you're still, it's almost like a loss because your chances of making the playoffs or even being considered as going down, you're going to be considered against a team that's 11-1 when you've only played 6 or 7 games. They've won 11, you've won 7. Even though they lost 1 and you didn't lose, you've only won 7 games. Even if you win your 6 games and you go to the conference championship and you win that, you still only won 7 games. So it's going to be difficult for the Big Ten because they have a lot of teams cancel. Wisconsin had a couple of games canceled. Northwestern, who people thought was going to be a great team because they had won all their games up until this weekend where they got beat by Michigan State. So traditionally, Northwestern is not a team that is great at football. That's one of those universities where smart kids go. It's like an Ivy League school only in the Big Ten. Only it's in the Big Ten. I mean, to me, the difference is between these schools that are so-called places where smart kids go. The difference is really the reputation of the school. I'm sure that there are no more smart kids in Harvard than there are in some of these other universities. I don't want to name any of them, but some of these universities, got a lot of academic scholars, These young people who have studied hard, gotten straight A's, been on the honor roll. But anyway, Northwestern, traditionally not a football school. Every now and then they have a good football team. They got beat, I do believe, by Michigan State, who is a team that usually has a good football team, but this year they don't. Michigan been struggling, and Penn State, who beat Michigan, is the first game that they won. They were 0-5, I think. They 1-5 now. So they played 6 games, actually. Penn State has, unfortunately for them, they've lost 5 of them, which is unheard of for Penn State. So this is a weird, wacky sports season. The NBA just finished up their season with the Lakers winning the championship. That was a lot later. I think that just happened, a month ago? October? Usually they're done in June. The NBA, their season is over in June. They had the championship in June, not September. Baseball, they just finished up. The World Series was it just ended too. Usually baseball is, but they only played 60 games. They usually play 160 in baseball, regular season. 162. Actually, I don't know why they play so many games in baseball. I guess they found it so that is, that the game is not as hard on the body, so they could play many more games. But baseball is like what they used to call America's pastime, meaning more people used to watch baseball than anything, but that's changed now. Football games get a higher rating on TV than anything else, TV shows or sporting events. So baseball is no longer America's favorite pastime. But anyway, they're going to start the basketball season back up in December. And I would be watching football right now, actually. But the Cowboys, the team that I root for, they already played on Thursday and got beat by Washington, the Washington football team. Which, if I was the owner of the Washington football team, I would just still call them the Redskins. I would just change the logo to something else that is called the Redskins. Like the potato. There are Redskin potatoes. You could just make the logo a potato and still call them the Redskins. Just put mix in a potato on your logo. The Redskins. Washington Redskins. Redskin potatoes. I don't know about changing the name. Everybody who was a Redskins fan, that name just tattooed in your brain for Washington Redskins. But anyway, that's just me. I don't know what they're going to do, but they beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, and the Bengals lost their quarterback. So those are the two teams that I usually would root for. The Bengals, because I'm from Ohio, I had to pick a Ohio team, and so I chose the Bengals. But I've been rooting for the Cowboys since I was a kid, so I stick with the Cowboys. America's team, by the way. Yeah, the Cowboys are America's team. I know that there are some people who like to say other teams are America's team in football, but they're not.